Hi, Doug Cross from UBC's Wolfson Fields in Vancouver, British Columbia, bringing you live action between New Brunswick and, Nova Scotia and Ontario. And folks, I know you're expecting to see a picture. You will be shortly. Just doing some technical changes here, and we'll bring you the audio of this game just so you can stay up to date on what's going on. Great festival going on here, almost 1,000 kids representing technically five divisions, as there's also a U14 division being run by the British Columbia Rugby Union. But U18 men and women and U16 men and women all here on the beautiful grounds of the University of British Columbia. So Ontario with the ball in hand. So Ontario with the ball in hand. Outside the 22. In actual fact, this game will be starting in a couple minutes. Back with more in a moment. Check, 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 check. Check 1, 2, 3. And here we are live from UBC, Thunderbird Stadium, Nova Scotia in Ontario. And it's the U18 Women's Division. Doug Cross with you, and we're here in superb conditions. Unfortunately, pictures coming in just a bit, but we will provide the audio feed for you and have a full video feed of the game online after the day's events. So you folks in Nova Scotia can rest assured you'll see your kids as well as in Ontario. And Ontario on the front foot here and scoring first try of the game. So 5-0 to Ontario to start this game. It was a nice jinking run from about 22 meters out. Scored by number 12 for Ontario. Just getting the lineups on the other side of the field, so we'll tell you who that all was. So 3 fields of great rugby action from Wednesday through to Sunday, all day long. We'll be bringing you all the games on Field 1 right through to championship rounds. Brian Kelly will be joining us, and we'll have guest announcers popping in and out. And that conversion is good, 7-0, just a couple of minutes in. And certainly on paper, this might be a mismatch as the Ontario women just so strong, both on the national team level, but all the way down through the development ranks. And Nova Scotia, certainly a game team here, but you know, when you have the sheer population numbers to draw from in the Ontario region, you're going to get the best of the best, certainly on the field. Nearly knocked on from the kickoff, but Ontario on the front foot now, just before halfway. A maul has formed. Ball looks unplayable, and yes, we're going to have a scrum now to Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia wearing white, playing from right to left. Coming up on today's schedule at 10:30 in the U16 Men's Division, BC2 versus New Brunswick. At noon, it will be Manitoba versus Saskatchewan. The Under-18 Women versus in the BC versus Manitoba game at 1:30 at 3 o'clock in the U16 Division, Ontario1 versus New Brunswick. And we wrap up the day with the Under-18 Women BC1 versus Alberta. Score 7-0 here. We're broadcasting from the Gerald McGavin Rugby Pavilion, an absolute stunner of a rugby facility here at UBC, brand new, really open to use in the last month or so. And as you'll see when we bring you pictures, that the facility is built for rugby and rugby enjoyment, built-in grandstand, hold a few hundred people, and a great indoor area. As Ontario now on the charge and knocked into touch about 15 meters out from the Nova Scotia try line. So it'll be a line out for Nova Scotia. They'll want to clear their lines, certainly just a clean take, and they haven't, and now that ball's gone long. Ontario's picked it up, but not before knocking it on the back of the line out. So it will be scrum in 15 now for Nova Scotia. This game's 60 minutes long in the, 40 minutes in the opening rounds. Athlete welfare certainly a topic of conversation in terms of the conditions and how many games they have to play. Physiotherapists for each team are busy folks, just taking care of all the bumps and bruises that will come about as a result of play. Nova Scotia trying to kick that into touch, no good, and now counterattack by Ontario, driving straight up the middle of the far wing. Ball staying Ontario side, clean ball out. First step by the fly half, and that could be daylight. It is going to be Ontario's second try of the day by the fly half. Still waiting on that roster list for you. So just speaking in general terms about what's happening, that makes it 12-0 for Ontario with the conversion to come. And it was nearly under the post, so the extras should be coming. So to paint a bit of a picture for you here, the main field opposite the new pavilion, sort of running east to west, and then two more fields off to our right that run north-south. And those are fields 2 and 3, and then a fourth field by UBC Thunderbird Stadium rounds out the action that's happening in terms of where all the games are played. Great to have the U14s partaking in the festival atmosphere, even though it's a tournament within a tournament. Teams from Ontario, Washington State, and from British Columbia. So great rugby spirit there, having all the different provinces and even the United States participating in this Rugby Canada National Festival. The restart from Nova Scotia. No one really wanted it from Ontario now, and inferred was a knock-on. Didn't quite see it, but it will be a great opportunity here now for Nova Scotia. Just outside the 22-meter line of Ontario, dead center, they are making the adjustment, splitting their backs to possibly go up the blind side, as it were, though, you know, plenty of space both sides of the scrum here. 14-0 the score, Ontario over Nova Scotia. Ball in cleanly. Ontario pushing back hard in the scrum, but number 8 for Nova Scotia coming away with it and making good yards past the gain line. And, oh, high tackle there, and argument could be made that that was a little bit above the shoulders, tackled into touch. Ontario with the line out, 10 meters out from their own line. Now this will be an important defensive jump for Nova Scotia. If they can get this ball back, they're sitting in good position for an attack, but Ontario true to the task, but not before a knock-on the transfer from the line out to the scrum half. So it's going to be scrum for Nova Scotia here. Real opportunity here. Their back line very steep. Far sideline is where the scrum's taking place. Good push from Ontario. It's messing up the delivery of the ball for Nova Scotia, but they still have possession. And now the attack on, switch back inside. Slicing through is the inside center. Nova Scotia girls calling for that ball, and it's come out now. They're going to have to deal with it probably before they are ready for it. Immediately resetting. Ball staying Nova Scotia side. Switch again, back inside. Hard down. Good tackle by Ontario. Now, big player from Nova Scotia in the front row rumbling through and causing lots of damage. Oh, and that ball nearly looked like it was knocked on, but no, play continues. Nova Scotia doing well, but now that ball stolen in open play. Ontario counterattacking from their own 10-meter from inside the tackle. A great release pass, and now firing down the wing. Number 14 for Ontario off to the fullback, and that fullback is off to the races. So that just shows you the depth and the danger of this Ontario team. Nova Scotia was within a couple of meters of scoring, and then the ball got stripped in open play, and down the wing they went, and nearly 95-meter try to push the score to 19-0 with the conversion to come. So the score 17-0 now. Asking the Ontario selectors, is that score correct? 17-0? Yeah. So misconversion there. A couple of misconversions, surprisingly, even though they were in close. Nova Scotia with the restart. Doug Cross here from UBC's Wolfson Fields and the Gerald McGavin Rugby Pavilion. Audio for now, but pictures coming shortly. Ontario working that ball hard right up the middle. Driving a good 20 meters now from the rolling maul. Now clean ball out down the line. And Ontario keen to attack at every moment. This is going to be another try for Ontario. Inside center, taking it from nearly 45 meters out. Had help on the outside right shoulder, but she kept it the whole way. And another try for Ontario. So that pushes the score up to 23-0. Still in the first half, about 15 minutes gone. 20-minute halves here. So it has to be disheartening for Nova Scotia. The offensive power of this Ontario team, very evident. Conversion being taken now by Ontario. And the conversion goes over. So let me get 24-0. So 4 tries scored by Ontario now as Nova Scotia walks back way to halfway. Restart right to front row number 3 for Ontario. Coming in offside, Nova Scotia is going to have to retreat 10 meters. And now the ball not taken from the mark. And so Ontario will have to come back to the spot, losing that quick tap advantage, spinning it out to the wing. So now that's Ontario taking another try across the line. And the score is ballooning for Nova Scotia. Here's a chance to get you caught up on the lineups in the front row for Ontario. Susan Garwood, Michaela Albert, and Dorian Curry. Second row made up of Charlotte Dunn and Bailey Dean. A back row trio of Brooke Newsom, Mandy Beneff, and Ingrid Krausbar at number 8. The fly half, scrum half combination, Jordy DiNardo at scrum half, and fly half is Madison Bretan. In the centers, Kelsey Owen and Shelby Hall, and Maddie Seidel on one wing, and Rita Charest on the other, with Nikki Case coming in at the fullback spot. Nova Scotia's team made up from Tasha McKenzie, Amelia Hatfield, and Kelsey Pellerine in the front row, Ryan Bell and Renee Taylor in the second row, Catherine Rutledge and Claire Matheson at the flanker spots, Alex Tarasuk at number 8, Rachel Campbell and Sarah Manton making up the halfback combinations. In the centers, Emma Burry and Autumn Smiley, Megan McNutt on one wing, and we just have Naomi on the other wing, and Dominic Lalonde as the fullback. Score 29-0 now for Nova Scotia. So it'll be likely Sarah Matten to get this underway. Knock on by the, looks like the Ontario team knocked it on, so it's going to be scrum to Nova Scotia from the kickoff. Handling, bit of a problem. Now this pitch was being watered first thing this morning, but with the bright sunshine here, don't think it should be too much of a problem. So we're going to have a scrum here for Nova Scotia. Ontario pushing back, but Nova Scotia able to control that ball, and maybe that's a skill they've acquired, just being under pressure. A flat pass to the inside center, Emma Burry. So Nova Scotia playing well in situations where they can get their hands on the ball. Unfortunately, Ontario's just had the lion's share of ball, but now penalty sending Ontario back 10 meters, and Nova Scotia just 15 meters out from the line, driving through hard, and now another penalty against Ontario. They're going to be pretty much straight back to the line as Nova Scotia does a quick tap, and they may be on the scoreboard for the first try this afternoon, and they are. And that looks like Tasha McKenzie went across for Nova Scotia. Big front row player. So that brings the score to 29-5, and that will be a confidence boost for Nova Scotia. Ontario really causing their own problems with penalties in close to the try line. Conversion kick to come here from about, 24, 25 meters on an angle right of the posts. Not much wind to talk about here. Perfect day. Perfect summer's day here in August in British Columbia. Been very dry here as we drove in, saw the forest fire alert had been nudged up into the red. As the conversion goes across, that's 29-7. Forest fires peppering the province, but Vancouver looking its usual lush green self. So Ontario doing the first restart of their day after scoring 29 unanswered points. They will be kicking to Nova Scotia. Kickoff by Madison Bretan. So Nova Scotia playing with a little more guile now after that scoring sequence. Gave them some belief, but now, as I say that, they're going to have to roll away from the penalty situation. They weren't rolling away in the contact area, and so that cost them a penalty. Ontario trying to figure out what they're going to do. Jordy DiNardo now spins that out. A missed pass goes to ground, and we'll have the knock on there. So now it's scrum for Nova Scotia. They're at their own 22-meter line, and the percentage situation would be to kick that ball down the field, just to relieve the pressure of having Ontario in close. Let's see if Nova Scotia has the kicker to do that. Manton does get it into touch just outside the 22-meter line. Not a lot, but allows them to regroup, and they'll have Ontario throwing in the ball, but that's the beauty of the line out. Doesn't always go to plan. It does this time for Ontario. DiNardo Getting that ball down the line. And that's the wing number 11, Maddie Seidel. Looking for work coming in off her left wing there, and came right out and scored the try under the post. So good nose for the ball and getting involved in the action there by Seidel. 34-7 the scoreline now. As we near halftime. Nearly 20 minutes gone. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised after this kick if this is not the halftime whistle as Madison Breton lines up this kick. She's good on her attempt. So that's 36-7 now for Ontario. Ontario having troubles with the restarts. It's probably 3 or 4 drop balls off the kickoff now. When Nova Scotia's kicked them the ball, they just can't seem to find the handle. And so handing another opportunity here for Nova Scotia with a scrum center about 26 meters out from the line. And, you know, Nova Scotia's got to grab these gifts when they can and do something with them. Just taking a moment to set themselves. Nova Scotia's got to throw everything they have into this game, and you know, also in a tournament format, keeping the score down. You know, even though you might have lost the game, you still got to make those tackles in the second half, so you don't get that cricket score that's on your back for the rest of the week when you're maybe needing points for and against for placements and things like that. That scrum's gone down. Canadian team coach Kieran Crowley just arriving here, and he'll be watching youngsters for the future, as a lot of the Canadian team coaches will. And so that scrum still to go down. Boy, the Ontario team pushing that front row up for Nova Scotia high. That's the fly half Manton for Nova Scotia going into contact. That ball's gone to ground. Nova Scotia resetting. Clean ball out to Amelia Hatfield, the hooker. Ball gone to ground again. So Nova Scotia doing the little things right well, recycling and keeping the ball alive. About the fourth phase here for Nova Scotia. About 15 meters out from the line now. Stepping through a couple of tacklers is Kelsey Pellerin. The backs set up steep, but probably not spread out as much as they should be. Nova Scotia still working hard in the contact area. Ontario absorbing the pressure, but Nova Scotia keeping that ball their side. That's come out again. Poor pass goes to ground, but yeah, that's going to be a knock-on called there as the pressure is put on by the breakaway flank from Ontario, jumping all over that looping pass. So a scrum time now for Ontario with the put in their own end. So Nova Scotia managing a sustained period of pressure here late in this first half. That scrum spins around. So they'll reset this scrum. Still Ontario with the put in. And that's not going down cleanly. And so be a crooked arm penalty, indirect penalty for Ontario. Quick tap taken. Nova Scotia showing good restraint, not engaging within the 10-meter zone there. Now the tackle's being made. Ontario wants to get another score here. That ball's gone to ground for a moment, but picked up. No knock on there. Great job by Ingrid Krausbar, the number 8. She's offloaded to the outside center, Shelby Holland. DiNardo now. Great service to Kelsey Owen. And this is where Ontario's really strong, is in those 4th and 5th phases. Now, that was a Nova Scotia hand that got in there, but the ball was knocked back. But argument could have been made for a deliberate knock-on there by Nova Scotia. Another try scored. Can't quite pick up the number there. No, try didn't make it. So it's a knock-on near the line. Nova Scotia will have the put-in. So Ontario nearly getting across for another try. Already sitting with 6 on the afternoon. I guess it's morning. It's probably afternoon in other parts of the country where, West Coast time, we're the last to get up in terms of time zones in Canada. That's a take by number 8, Ingrid Krausbar. And she goes in across the line, just bulls her way across for try number 7. Pushing the score to 41-7. Is it 60-minute games or 40-minute games? Yeah. Yeah. So some divisions are playing 40-minute games. Others are playing 60s in the opening rounds. The U18 women playing 60-minute rounds. So we got to be pushing towards halftime now. The score 43-7. Ingrid Krausbar getting a try for Ontario. Still another restart to come from Nova Scotia. Doug Cross bringing in the National Championship Festival coverage along with Brian Kelly and others throughout the week. Lots of games, lots of action from Field 1. Another handling error by Ontario on the kickoff. This time Shelby Holland couldn't find the handle, and that is the whistle for halftime. Going to take a quick break and back with more. The stream will remain going, and we'll have pictures for you shortly. Back in a moment. Okay, camera here. Okay, well, we got a monopod. You able to work with a monopod, buddy?
Yep, figured it out.
Yeah.
So I guess we're pretty much tethered to as far as this cable.
Yeah, I would even say let's work from that side. What's that?
There's a charger in here. I don't know how long this battery lasts for.
Can we not just plug it in direct? Yeah, I think that's a direct charger. No, this thing here. That's a direct charger. You pull the battery out.
Here.
Yeah, and then. Hang on. He doesn't have the plug for this. Are you fucking kidding me? Is the world working against me here?
It's not on the other side.
Yeah, we need that.
There it is.
CA. Yeah.
No, we're not in yet.
Okay, now where's my other end of the video is. Okay, so we got a picture, glorious picture. Perfect. Yeah, we're showing a picture there. Oh, are you gonna put the monopod on?
Yeah, just making sure it's all
Okay.
focused and everything.
We'll get a tripod through the day.
Yeah, I think I'm here today and then I'm away the next couple days, so it'll be different each
Yeah.
that'll be the same person for the rest of the weekend.
So we're at halftime here, as we're happy to bring you pictures now of Ontario versus Nova Scotia. Ontario leading this game 43-7 after 30 minutes. Nova Scotia playing some spirited rugby at times. Interestingly, Ontario has had handling errors off the kickoffs. And so that's the one area that the coaching staff will be. The teams are now just getting ready to come back on the field after about a 5-minute break. Glad to bring you pictures. We had just some equipment issues at the start of the day, but all patched up now. Coming up at 10:30, the under-16 men's division BC2 versus New Brunswick. At noon, it's U18 Men Manitoba versus Saskatchewan. At 1:30, BC versus Manitoba. Ontario1 versus New Brunswick in the under-16 men's division. That other game was U18 Women, and finished the day at 4:30 with U18 Women versus BC1. BC1 versus Alberta. I wouldn't go to. I don't think it's going to be worth the effort. I mean, we can see. Yeah, it's nice to have category, but it's probably going to take up too much space. And yeah. So Ontario will kick off to Nova Scotia now with a comfortable 43-7 lead. It's the fly half. Madison Breton kicking off for Ontario. Nova Scotia. Oh, big tackle put in on the Nova Scotian player just as she got the ball. Ontario showing that the gas pedal is firmly set to the floor in this second half. sometimes that's the risk when you've got a big score in the first half, is that your team's going to let off. But this is the opening game of the tournament for both teams, and they've got to establish who they are in this tournament. Nova Scotia keeping possession here. Well, spin pass out to the right side. Nova Scotia diving through. Might have been a bit of a high tackle there by the Ontario player. Autumn Smiley going down for Nova Scotia. She's okay. Now some counter-rucking by Ontario, and they looked like they may have stolen that ball, but not before coming in from the side, being called by the referee. Ontario may have touched that player in that 10-meter zone. I'm surprised the call didn't come there. Nova Scotia trying to get that ball out. They messed with advantage being played. Still advantage being played. Nova Scotia keeping a good presence of mind there as the front rower Kelsey Pellerin comes through. But look at the big Ontario tackles being put in, and now that ball will come back. Ontario captain being spoken to, just getting warnings for repeated infringements, and eventually if those go unheeded, the cards will come out. So Nova Scotia with the penalty here at halfway. They'll look to give this one a ride down the field. Rachel Campbell, but it didn't find touch. Good counter now by Ontario. Nova Scotia still keen to put the tackles in. That pass getting to inside center Kelsey Owen. And here's another long Ontario attack, and it's going to be another try, it looks like, for Maddie Seidel. She'll go in untouched under the posts. She had a big try to finish off the second half, and with this try right under the posts, that will bring them to the half-century mark, 50-7. And one of the problems when you're bringing the different provinces with different abilities, you're going to get some tilted floor scores there. And Ontario's certainly showing what they're capable of in this opening match. Nova Scotia, as I said, they're doing a lot of things right. There's just probably not enough possession and maybe not the weapons in the back line that they need to break through. A number of the Ontario tries have been long, fast runs by the centers and wings. Bertan with the extras there. So indeed, the score 50-7 now. So Nova Scotia with the restart here. Not a majestic offering, but it goes to the required 10 meters. Ontario not knocking it on this time. They've had some real problems with the restarts this morning. Look at that big Ontario forwards unit just pounding through. And now Nova Scotia tying that ball up well to the point where it may become unplayable. Yes, it is. And so good job by the Nova Scotia forwards. They've won the scrum out of that engagement. And those are the little battles that forwards like to engage in and come away with possession is an important one, especially at midfield where they can split their backs and maybe test Ontario a little bit. From what I've seen so far, Nova Scotia has got a basic attack plan of not kicking the ball away, which is good in some instances, but they may want to try and stretch the Ontario D a little bit by kicking this ball down the field and chasing. But I suppose that's down to coaches and players knowing what kind of weapons they have on the wing in terms of speed and chase down that far side, because Ontario very much anticipating that there won't be a kick. The fullback coming right up within 10 meters of the line, just acknowledging that the extra defensive position may be required. Nova Scotia pushing Ontario a little bit, but really Ontario getting set for defensive engagement off that scrum. First tackle put in by Ontario. Ball staying Nova Scotia side, but it's been stolen by Ontario now. And that is the wing, Maddie Seidel again. Boy, look at her just run away from the cover. And she may have, yes, she does have the gas to pull for a third try, second in this half. And she's on fire. What a weapon. I think we'll be seeing her name a lot this week, Kelsey Owen. So score 55-7 for Ontario. Don't forget you can cover all the games, watch them online from Field 1, but also follow it on Twitter. And if you go to nationalrugbyczampionships.com, all the info's there. We've got individual sites for each of the divisions and individual points scoring standings. So tries scored and kicks and everything like that. So at the end of the week, we'll have someone who's anointed as the top scorer of the tournament. And could it be this young lady? Well, I'll tell you what, Maddie Siedel's got her hand up for that one early. Madison Bretan, the kicker for Ontario, puts through another conversion. That makes the score 57-7. I'll tell you what, folks, there's probably not a better spot to be in August in Canada than Vancouver in terms of weather right now. A little cool in Ontario, where I'm based, and you know, after some torrid hot weather in early July, it's been decidedly underperforming as a summer so far in Ontario. But out here in Vancouver, boy oh boy, just creamy conditions, very nice. Inside center, Emma Burry offloading that one from the kickoff. They've tightened things up on the receiving end of those kickoffs, and now look at the great work being done there by number 20, Maya Gagnon, I think was player there. The offload pass to Bretan, the fly half, that ball's gone to ground. Not before being picked up by an Ontario player, but the knock-on came first. So it's a scrum now. It'll be Nova Scotia's put in. Nova Scotia definitely, their back line not set for attack mode, sort of delaying the fact that they may try and clear their lines here. Bit of a delay here. I'm not sure what's going on, but now the front row's coming together. The new experimental laws of engagement are being used now, and I think you're finding more stable scrums overall, and we'll probably talk to some referees over the week about, you know, what teams can expect going into the new season. Drop ball by Nova Scotia, knock on, and opportunity lost. And, you know, partially that's due to how flat Nova Scotia was lining up offensively. No chance to adjust when you're right up on the passing line there. You're going to have some drop balls. So here's Ontario now with just an ideal situation of being in a scrum situation, 22 meters out, but they're showing power right, as the coaching terminology goes. You know, they have all their backs except for Kelsey on the wing, all lined up right, and I think they'll be happy to either flip it out left and let Kelsey Owen run the show. No, it's a take by the number 8, Ingrid Krausbar. She had a try in the first half. And so this may be a bit of a forwards effort here, where they're just going to pick and go, but drop ball has taken away that opportunity. Nova Scotia will have the scrum now. So some changes being made by Ontario in the second half now, and rightfully so. The score 57-7. This is a time when coaches will try those other players in the depth chart, give them some field experience. Often in the U18 division, you're going to have a mix of 18-year-old players and some as young as 16 who have got some ability, and you need to put them under pressure at times. And this is the perfect game to do this now, where the game is in hand, but you can now try some things that you had in the old gadget playbook. Looks like the ball was fed in improperly. We'll probably reset this scrum. Great pictures by our cameraman Simon. Spin pass, Nova Scotia under pressure. They kick, but it'll be an immediate counterattack by number 22, Courtney Short. She's taken into touch. So it'll be line out for Nova Scotia, but they're going to be very nervous as they throw this one in. They have got to be precise in their targeting, because if Ontario steals this ball, early jump up there, and still not a clean take by Nova Scotia. Looks like Ontario's gotten to it, but maybe the early lifter will have that. Looks like it was a knock on there. We didn't quite see it there on the far sideline. So 9:51 in the morning here, and temperatures are already cruising in the 23-24 range in the sunshine. Superb, superb weather. Superb weather to be standing here calling it. You know, athletes maybe would prefer more in the 20-degree range, but you know, great to be able to not worry about keeping dry and warm and things like that. Clearance kick by Nova Scotia. It won't find touch. Oh yes, it will. Ontario receiving that and just a foot going into touch there, and so good net result for Nova Scotia here, trying to clear their lines, end up with a line out a little further down the park, probably 35 meters out from their line. And if they can organize a bit of a run here, you know, they may be onto something. Bit of a panic pass there by the scrum half, Rachel Campbell. And you know, some of the basic skill levels, maybe that's where the Nova Scotia attack fails a little bit. Nova Scotia driving into the line. Big tackles being put in by Ontario. Oh yeah, look at the contact point there. Ontario forwards just fronting up and want to make those first up tackles. Advantage being played. Perhaps that defensive player from Ontario left a little bit early. That's the case, and they've retreated 10 meters now. So, you know, being aggressive is one thing. Leaving early and smashing into the opposition, disrupting ball will cost you if the referee sees it. Now, a bit of a woeful kick, a pointless kick there by Nova Scotia. You either should be kicking for territory or, you know, kicking down the wing, but that was just kicking to the opposition there, and Ontario's making them pay the price as Maddie Seidel gets tackled hard. Keeping the ball alive. Flip pass to outside center, Shelby Holland. And Ontario making good use of that ball. Kelsey Owen. And now another try there. Ontario, who scored that try? Brooke Newsom touching down for that one. So she's the flanker for Ontario. So great job by Newsom to finish off that movement. So, you know, I guess the point can be made, though, that with the changes, et cetera, in the second half, 43 unanswered points in the first half, and it's only the second try or third try of the second half. So things slowing down offensively for Ontario a little bit. Nothing to be ashamed of, but also Nova Scotia, was out there and forcing some breakdowns and disrupting the flow of play. Madison Bratton will take this kick. Good fluid stroke. Flags are up. So the scorekeeper pulling out the big numbers now. 64-7 for Ontario. And, that will kind of hurt Nova Scotia going forward. But rest assured, they're not going to be the only team that probably gets smashed by this powerful Ontario side. It's just the facts of life sometimes. So Nova Scotia just doing a quick count. They may have made some changes and want to make sure they're not going out with 16 or with 14. Stranger things have happened. Emma Burry from Nova Scotia will restart this. Wearing the number 12 there. She's got the ball in hand. And now in this type of game, Nova Scotia's got to be looking to, obviously the game is out of sight for them, but they've got to concentrate on their own play and say, all right, well, let's string together 10 phases. Let's string together 12 phases. Let's get the ball out to the wing. Just try and get those little things going. So we've seen another Nova Scotian player come on. So they were maybe down a little below the recommended levels of players. 15, the optimum number. Anything less than that, and you could run into some troubles, especially against an Ontario side here. Now another problem at the kickoff. This one not knocked on, but if I was the Ontario coach, that's one area I'd spend a few minutes on, just doing restarts, and there's been a number of drop balls on those restarts by Ontario. Ball spinning out right. That's Madison Bratton. She's done well. Good offload as she was tackled. And boy, oh boy, look at the pace there. Trying to pick up the number of the player there. That's number 22, Courtney, nope, that's not Courtney Short, Catherine Belanger. And so she did well to finish off that powerful sweeping move. Another long try by the Ontario team. And that's kind of been their trademark, is when they strike from a well-organized kind of set piece type play, and then boom, they get around the edge and they're gone. And watching Nova Scotia's one try that had sustained pressure, picking drives and working hard with the forwards, and that tended to be the difference. And so if this conversion goes across, boy, that will be a big score indeed, 71-7. Flags are up, and scorekeeper being kept busy on that scoreboard over there. It is ticking over now, just as we sort of pronounced that maybe Nova Scotia had interrupted the flow for Ontario. They're right back in the groove. 30-minute halves here, so probably 15 minutes gone in the second half at this point. This is probably the one complaint people have about rugby when you have mismatches as opposed to a game like hockey or soccer. There's a way of killing the ball here, but in rugby you've got to play it. And if you don't play it or don't make the tackles, the team's running the other way, and they're not going to let up. So that's when these scores tend to balloon, is when one team's out of gas and the other one is looking to keep going. That's a great job by the inside center, Kelsey Owen. She stayed on her feet. Now is this going to be another one for Maddie Seidel? Yes, it is. That's going to be her, at least the fourth try I know of. I'm trying to think if she scored in the first half a couple times maybe, but 4 tries for sure for her. So early marker being set by Seidel as a top try scorer here. So score now 76-7 with the conversion to come. Can make it 78. This will be the fly half, Madison Bretan. She's had a busy morning. Another 2 points goes across for her. It's at least 6 or 7. Oh, we can tell over in that far sideline. Yeah, at least 6 conversions, I think, there for her. So Nova Scotia with the unenviable task of having to kick the ball back to Ontario now. No good can come of that for Nova Scotia. Here's the restart. Goes 10 meters. Ill-advised, picked off pass now. Nova Scotia sniping that ball. Lazy pass by Ontario, picked up. And now it's Nova Scotia on the front foot inside the Ontario half, pretty much for the first time this half. Hard tackle results in a knock-on, however. Ontario just putting in the hard licks, and that ball goes wide on the ground. And so at least some good impetus there, but now it's so the scrum not going Nova Scotia's way in Ontario now with the ball in hand. Madison Bratton, the fly half, and don't know that she'll go all the way, but she keeps fending off tacklers, gets that release pass out, and now this is going to be another score for Ontario. And trying to pick up the player there, Sean Allen. Do we know who that was? Charity Williams going across the line, number 23 for Ontario. Great to have Ontario coaches right here to sort of give us some confirmation of who we're looking at and what's going on. Karen Geddes is doing the conversion kicks now after Bretan nearly kicked her leg off with the conversions in the opening 40 minutes or so. 78-7 the score right now, but it hasn't been updated. So it'll be, goodness gracious, it'll be just waiting for this kick, but be in the 80s with this conversion kick. This is probably one of the tougher kicks of the afternoon. Williams scoring wide of the posts as she finished off a long, powerful move by Ontario. Well, it's a good-looking kick, I'll tell you what, and the flags go up. And good for Geddes. That was a powerful effort indeed. And, you know, in the early, I'm talking 15, 20 years ago, early days of women's rugby, you know, kicking just was not a part of the game that you could count on. But more and more, I'm seeing some terrific kickers coming into the rugby ranks. A lot of them transferring soccer skills from earlier in life, where they certainly know how to transfer the power from the leg to the ball, and you're seeing those skill sets passing through on rugby kicks. 85-7 the score now. Pounding up the middle, and now the crack starting to show of Nova Scotia. That was number 8, Ingrid Krausbar. Now, huh? Oh, that was Brooke Newsom wearing the number 6. I think it's time that I got myself to the optometrist, because the 8s and the 6s are looking mighty similar from a distance now. Maybe I'll get one of those, you know, the $5 pair from the drugstore that'll blaze your eyes out after a short while. So Nova Scotia now trying to close this game out, but not going well. That ball's been knocked on. I don't see the arm out for advantage. The referee may have missed that, but Ontario comes away with it. That's Charity Williams again. She's looking to offload and maybe overran her cover, and now the offload pass to the fullback, Nikki Case. And she was able to finish it off with a flurry, and boy, that brings the score up to 90-7 with a tough conversion kick to come, but that cannot be fun for those brave Nova Scotia ladies that are staying out there. I mean, there's no hiding on the field, and they're still trying to make the tackles, but this Ontario team from start to finish is just that powerful. Anyone capable of scoring at any moment, just with the pure support that you have available. As 19 Erin Geddes will try and impress us with another kick. She just had a great conversion kick from right of the posts. Right-footed kicker. This is set up for her all day long. Probably 30 meters or so. And she strikes it well, but just drifts to the left of the posts. But an even 90 points on the board for Ontario. And you don't think other teams in the U18 women's division won't be looking at that score and sucking their breath in. Keep in mind, folks, this is over, 50 minutes, 50 minutes now. They've scored 10 minutes to go. And I'm wondering if the scoreboard has the ability to handle a triple-digit score. And it may well have to in the next few minutes. So the kickoff, a bit of a mess again. Dorian Curry finally got to it for Ontario. If there is one thing I would say about Ontario's game is the receiving and kickoffs just not quite crisp enough, and will likely improve through the course of this tournament. But it's Charity Williams again. Good presence of mind to offload to Kelsey O on the inside center. Nova Scotia is still showing they're keen to make the tackles. They're trying to counter ruck and maybe come away with that ball, and they've done pretty well, got to say. But that ball stays Ontario side for now, and now a penalty. And Nova Scotia will have to pay the price for coming in offside. Ball going out the far wing. And that'll be yet another try for Ontario. Just trying to pick up that number now. Score at least 95, and with Geddes showing that she can kick from out wide, this one will be a bit of a sitter for her, so it could be 97-7. So Geddes sets herself up. Bit of a chip shot for her. Flags go up, and it is 97-7. And that is the final whistle, and I think probably the right call, even though it might be a couple of minutes early. Point had been made. Ontario winning solidly with a huge offensive outpouring there. At least 10 tries there, just trying to see the far sideline there. And so the two teams will come across and shake hands and wish each other well through the remainder of the tournament. They may well meet again in the round-robin format of the playoffs. But a great job by Ontario And I would have to say player of the game for me was Matty Seidel with at least 4 tries. And superb job by the winger there. So that concludes our coverage of the first match of the day. The next game up at 10:30. So in just about 20 minutes time, we'll keep the feed live. And about 5 minutes before that kickoff, it's going to be the U16 Men BC2 versus New Brunswick. And we'll bring you all the action from that game. And for now, I'm Doug Cross from UBC's Wolfson Fields, and we'll be back with the next game action at 10:30 Pacific, and whatever that is in your part of the world, 1:30 Eastern, and on it goes. Local times apply. Thanks very much, and we'll be back in a bit. Okay, I've taken your picture off. Is there a way we can just balance the camera and leave it?
Yeah, let me just do it. I just want to double check the white balance.
Right, yeah, the picture was a little harsh there. You got too much shade on that though? You want me to do it in the sun? Hold it in the sun. Were you watching? Oh, it's like 140 watching. Oh, that's good.
So it's not choppy, which is fantastic. The audio's good. It's clear. It's not the best quality, but it's not bad.
Yeah.
I'll take it. It's nice that it's not choppy. Yeah, it feels good.
All right. We got to make sure they don't wander off the line.
Yeah, I go next. Do we have 2 microphones or just 1?
Yeah, there is 2 microphones.
Well, let's just go back and forth. I'll do next game.
Yeah, I mean, I'll run the score and stuff like that. I didn't have, because I didn't think we were doing this game initially, I didn't think we were asking for that.
I'll do this. I think, if we've got 20 minutes and there's the next game, I think we just, is there anything we can do, like that National Festival logo we can just turn up?
I can't add it without killing the feed.
Is there anything we can do?
We're just getting the camera set for a static shot of the field. I'm just taking it off while we're adjusting. How do you want to?
Yeah, I'm just thinking this would be shot if we just want something.
Well, I was thinking you keep it on the monopod and then just like balance it like this.
Oh, okay.